back, guys. I'm really happy that you've allowed me to share this 7-part series with you, where we're going to give you a flavour of all the components that will be on our Phase 1 Strength and Conditioning Mentorship here at Elite. Now, within this email, you've also received a manual that is a written overview of all of the components that make up our Phase 1 Mentorship. In this first video, we're very briefly going to discuss the FMS. So, what is the FMS? Some of the confusion that surrounds it, why you want to do it, and what will be covered on our Phase 1 Mentorship. So, what is the FMS? The FMS essentially is a system that rates and ranks movement quality, and is a system that sets a minimum baseline standard for movement competency. It was created by Gray Cook and Co. with the philosophy of movement quality before movement quantity, and not to put strength and conditioning on top of dysfunctional movement. It's made up of 7 screens, the big 3, overhead deep squat, hurdle step, inline lunge, and the little 4, shoulder mobility, active straight leg raise, trunk stability push-up, and rotary stability. There's also 3 clearance tests within the screen. All 7 screens are scored 0 to 3. 0 would mean your athlete's in pain. 1 would mean that your athlete's dysfunctional movement. 2 means your athlete has a gross asymmetry. And 3 means your athlete can do the movement perfectly. And the FMS is only concerned with 4 findings and 4 findings only. Is your athlete in pain? Does your athlete have dysfunctional movement? Does your athlete have a gross asymmetry? And does your athlete have the minimum standard of movement competency to withstand the stresses of their strength and conditioning program? Okay, it's not looking for perfection. It's not looking for 3s on all 7 screens. In fact, the minimum standard that the FMS looks for on the FMS is symmetrical 2s on all 7 tests. So 14 out of 21 essentially. So then the question is, why would you want to do the FMS? Okay, and the reason that you want to do the FMS is it allows you to design much more effective programs. It allows you to further individualize your programs. Better programs means better results for your athletes. Okay, now some of the confusion that surrounds the FMS I'm going to address here is 4 main things that I always hear. First of all, I hear people often say that it's not sport specific. It's not meant to be sport specific. Okay, the FMS is species specific. It's human specific. If you're a human, it's specific to you. Don't forget, you were a human long before you were an athlete and long before you specialize in any particular sport. A second one I often hear is that this FMS says we have to be perfectly symmetrical. The FMS has never said this. Okay, the FMS completely appreciates that human beings are asymmetrical. What the FMS has stated, however, is that it does not want people to have a gross asymmetry. And that's the key word, a gross asymmetry. Because a gross asymmetry is the second biggest predictor for an injury after a previous injury, which is the first predictor of a future injury, a previous injury. The third thing I've often heard is that it doesn't predict sporting performance. It's not meant to predict sporting performance. It's a screen. Does your blood pressure predict your sporting performance? Does your lipid panel? No. They're just screens to see if you're at risk. Same with the FMS. Just a screen, no more, no less. Okay. The last thing I'm going to cover in terms of some of the confusion that surrounds the FMS and some of the criticisms based off false assumptions is that you can't get strong with the FMS. This is complete nonsense. I have for years gotten my athletes stronger while I've concurrently improved their movement quality. So what is going to be covered on our Phase 1 Strength and Conditioning Mentorship in terms of the FMS? You guys are going to walk away as Level 1 certified FMS practitioners. We have teamed up with the FMS to make this happen. So you guys are going to walk away with the what, the why, and the how to do an FMS, as well as learn all of the corrective strategies for all 7 screens. So you're going to learn the corrective exercise hierarchy, as well as the corrective exercise system of mobility, stability, and repattern. To close off this video, guys, what we're going to do is show you a clip from one of our Phase 1 mentorships. I'm going to see you tomorrow where we cover performance testing. Have a great day.
Okay, so how do we measure movement quality? Me personally, I use the functional movement screen, okay? Now we're going to get into some of the false assumptions made about the FMS. A lot of people have criticisms of the FMS, and all of their criticisms, for the most part, are always based off false assumptions. Okay, and if anyone's read the book, The 4 Agreements, one of the agreements is never assume, okay? And that seems to happen an awful lot with regards to the FMS. Now, I want to make this very clear, and again, I'll say this into the camera. Do I believe that you have to use the FMS as your only tool for movement quality? No. Use whatever you want. I don't care what you use. Okay, but this is what I do believe. You absolutely should be measuring movement quality with some sort of feet are dead straight. Now, here's the key thing. This foot has to be straight. Straighten that foot down if you can. See this foot? Turn it in, yeah. That foot has to be straight. If that foot is not straight from the beginning, straight away, from the beginning. That's one people miss. I used to miss that. That has to be straight from the start. I was told initially that just had to have the heel down, but the foot could be slightly turned out. And that just meant they weren't a 3, but they could get a 2, but that was wrong. According to the FMS, if they can't start with both feet straight from the beginning, it's automatically a 1. Feet together. Go for it. So he's a little bit off. Yeah, no problem. You'd be perfect now for the toe touch correction. All right, so feet together. This is going to be, this will decide the future of the DVD. All right, just go one more again.
I could do that at the start.
Yeah, keep your knees a little bit straight for me, right? If you can. Okay, well, it's definitely changed.